Shai is a class that many view as versatile. It gives buffs for group content such as black shrines, dungeons, group grinds, or PvP modes, while also capable of solo grind in many areas. No matter what it is, this guide will cover a lot of both the combos, skills, and small things you need to know to play Shai, as well as the in-depth details and try-hard methods to actually play this class at a high-end level if you desire it. Now, it may feel odd to say this, but first we are going to talk about our Awakening section. When you play Shai, you don't really think about the Awakening much entirely because we don't really have one. Unlike every other class, we cannot buy an Awakening off the market, we cannot tag our Awakening, and we have to make it ourselves. To say the least, we are a kind of neglected class. And it also feels weird to say that despite being neglected, we have a very strong Awakening. Now that strength comes primarily from these 4 skills here. You could say that we have 3 attacks in it, but they're so very shit we never use them. We use Force Echo in PvP, that is it. But these 4 buffs right here are very important. First of all, we have Sun, Moon, Stars. This gives an attack speed bonus and movement speed bonus of 10%. Massive. Then we have Time to Shine. This gives a BSR recovery bonus, which is Black Spirit Rage recovery. Massive. Shout to the Sky. This gives you 1,500 extra max HP. It gives you 500 HP recovery upon casting the skill, and 150 HP recovery every 2 seconds for 10 seconds, totaling 750 HP recovery. Massive. Summer Rain, which gives you a 40% debuff resistance, and if you combine that with the passive debuff resistance you get from just playing the game, as well as debuff resistant crystals, and the tent buff, or not the tent buff, the Villa buff, which you can activate with your tent, you can get a 100% debuff resistance. And you cannot be knocked, stunned, or whatever debuff you're trying to resist. Massive. So in total, these 4 buffs are very important to Shai. Not only because it gives you the attack speed, which you desperately need to do any bit of damage whatsoever, but also because it casts to all of your allies inside of the party, making Shai a very important character inside of group grinds. Also, you can keep these buffs up for 100% of the time. Yes, they have a 100% uptime, with a duration of 60 seconds and a cooldown of 10 seconds. Even beyond that, you also have an E-buff that's different from all the other classes. It has the same effect, but it is the only class that allows you to cast an E-buff to not only yourself, but all of your party members. So, not only do you get a 30 AP bonus, but so does every single person in your party. They also get a 30 AP bonus, which is, to say, massive. And now I'm sorry to say, but I have one more massive for you, and that would be the Misty Haze. Unlike the E-buff, which is a buff, the Misty Haze is in fact a debuff, a Q debuff if you will. This debuff is entirely massive because it applies a minus 10% all DP to all the enemies that you hit with this debuff. Now that may sound small, but in fact 10% is large. I swear it's large. Please, believe me. I swear it's about how you use it, okay? Please. In all seriousness, it is a debuff you're going to want to use no matter where you're using it. Whether you're using it in Blood Wolves, actually it might not be useful there anymore since they're so weak anyway, or you're using it in Underground Gyphons, for example. Now, I'm going to use it in terms of an area I've been grinding recently because it's a new area that's kind of in-game, and the Misty Haze is very important here. In fact, you cannot really grind here without it. And it's going to be the Olin's Valley Dekia level 2 spot. It came out a week ago, I believe. And in this area, one of the giant golems that spawn has a DP value of 1,050. That also means you need 1,050 AP to do any damage to it. Now, if we're talking in that importance, then if you use the Misty Haze, which has a 10% DP debuff, and you hit the golem with it, instead of having 1,050 DP, which can take you 2 to 3 minutes to kill, you're instead gonna be fighting a monster that has 945 DP, and you can kill it in mere moments. So, it can turn something like a 3-minute kill into a 30-second kill, depending on how you use it. Now, oddly enough, it has a 3-minute cooldown and lasts for 30 seconds, so you better hope that it's a 30-second kill. In all seriousness though, It is a massively important ability, and you're going to want to use this as much as you can. Just be careful of when you use it, because in some spots it's going to be much more important than others. Next, we're going to talk about the pre-awakening and the basics of that section of Shai, which is also going to be your primary skill combination. I'm just going to rip the band-aid off right here, and I'm going to show you the skill combination right now. So first, you're going to want to start with a forward F for tuck and roll. This gives you a massive attack speed bonus of plus 20%, and if you stack that with the Sun, Moon, Stars bonus you get from doing these buffs, you get a 30% attack speed bonus, which is of course going to be massive. After you tuck and roll, which you do quite often, you're going to want to use your Hop 3 skill. After that, your Quick 2 skill, followed by your Try This, your 1, 2, 3. However, there's one variation. In the 1, 2, 3, there's also a skill called Go. You can fit the skill right after your first one by pressing Q and looking to the side. If you don't do it fast enough, it will cast your other Q skill, which is called Stick to Me. So you're going to want to do it quite quickly after you cast your first 1, 2, 3 skill. So if we were to fit that into the skill rotation, first you'd roll, Hop 3, Quick 2, Try This, 1, Go, 2, 3. Now after that first rotation of 1, 2, 3, you're going to want to go back to your Hop 3, and then you're going to want to repeat the 1, Q, 2, 3. And then you're going to want to start from the beginning where you roll, Hop 3, Quick 2, and do all that motion all over again. And so let's talk about why this is the skill rotation that I use for Shai and a lot of other Shais use. So first off, as we talked about with tuck and roll, the forward F motion, it gives you a plus 20 attack speed bonus for 10 seconds. This is going to be massive. It also stacks with the plus 10% attack speed bonus you get from your Sun, Moon, Stars, so you're getting a total of plus 30% attack speed bonus in general, which is massive. Absolutely massive. It's the difference between playing Shai and just playing dead, which is actually a skill Shai has. It's kind of funny. Here, let me show you it real quick. The funniest part is this is actually useful in PvP. In all seriousness, this is very important to your kit. You're going to want to use this at the start of every rotation, and you're going to want to keep it up 100% of the time. It only has a 3-second cooldown, so perfect to use all the time. It's also a super armor, so it's a nice little skill to use in case like an attack's coming from directly in front of you. You can just tuck and roll, and you can still take damage, but it at least protects you from being knocked down. So always initiate your combos with that skill. Next up, we have Hop 3 and Quick 2 can be interchangeable. I enjoy using Hop 3 first because it generally attacks your vicinity here, versus Quick 2, which you can use to get a bit of distance after to follow up with Try This, since that one usually requires a bit of distance to cast. Hop 3 and Quick 2 also both apply a massive section called all DP minus 35% for 10 seconds on hits. It's only in PvE, so it doesn't do much in PvP. However, in PvP, it gives a section called all DP minus 10% for 10 seconds. This is massive, but for now we're just going to focus on the PvE aspect. Quick 2, Hop 3, and Twirl 3 all have this. Twirl 3 is only it's a weird skill to use. I shall show you why. If we were to use Twirl 3, it has a very long windup, but it also has long range. So, for example, if you're trying to get somewhere, you could use Twirl 3 to hit an enemy that's decently far away, versus something like Hop 3 that wouldn't reach it, or Quick 2 that also wouldn't reach it. So it's more of a situational skill than one you'd want to incorporate inside of your combo. So Hop 3 and Quick 2 kind of give you that very start of the rotation, the minus DP for you to fill out the rest of the rotation, do extra damage. So after you apply the minus 35 DP buff from those two skills, you're going to want to follow it up with Try This. Try This, its main purpose is just a damage skill. It doesn't have any special requirements or anything. It doesn't have any special things like the minus 35 DP that the others do. It just does a lot of damage, which is nice. Who doesn't like damage? Like, this is just going to be one of your primary damage skills. The next is 1, 2, 3, and Go. These are also going to be a damage skill. So you start off by trying to get the attack speed, then the DP minus so you can do a lot more damage later on, then you just stack damage skills, like try this, and 1, 2, 3, and go. That's primarily all the rotation is. Now, the reason I said to repeat the rotation where you do 1, go, 2, 3, and then do hop 3 instead of just repeating the rotation instantly, is because, let's say you're doing the rotation with all the buffs. You'll notice that you cannot entirely repeat the rotation because your try this skill has 3 seconds left on its cooldown. So you can just flip out the time by doing the rotation. 1, go, 2, 3, and then this skill fits in between them. And by that time, your try this will be off cooldown, and you can just repeat the skill rotation from there. Now, that'll be the primary skill rotation. I explained why we use all the attacks and different things, but there's one thing I did not cover. And you may notice down at the bottom, we have some leaves. I know, amazing, leaves. But it is actually quite amazing. Every 10 attacks that we cast, 10 leaves will charge up. Every time you jump, it'll get rid of the leaves. For every 10 leaves, it'll give you an extra plus 10 AP. So, let's say you're doing your skill rotation. Eventually, you can charge up to 30 leaves at maximum, and you can cast a plus 30 AP bonus. This bonus can also be shared among allies. However, it's a little bit weird. Out of My Way is what these Foreign Leaves ability is called. And if you take a look at the specifics of it, you can see that when you consume the leaves, you get a 60-second AP buff, depending on how many leaves you use to cast it. However, the teammates in your party only get a 30-second buff. So if you're in endgame and you're trying to be a really upstanding Shai, an upstanding citizen that helps out all of your party members 24/7, sometimes it slips. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to try and charge 30 of these leaves every 30 seconds. So basically 1 attack a second. And you'll notice while doing the skill rotation, which keep in mind is an infinitely repeating skill rotation, you can charge these leaves up quite frequently. And you can get all 30 leaves in about 29 seconds of the skill rotation. Meaning, you can cast your skills, and here's an added little bonus. This is the primary way to get from your awakening to your pre-awakening. You can just use the foreign leaves to jump, and it brings you back into your pre-awakening for you to then follow up with your combo. Not only that, because you're casting this every 30 seconds to try and keep this up for all of your allies who are in your party, that also means you're going to be casting these every 30 seconds, so you don't need to worry about them running out or having the cooldowns be like 5 seconds left and you're trying to rush them out, because you'll always just have them out on the ready. So typically what my rotation looks like is I start off with all of my buffs, and we'll pretend that we have foreign leaves, so we'll pretend we jump there, and then we'll just run into the normal skill rotation. We'll do this until all the foreign leaves are charged, and then we'll just repeat. So in essence, when playing Shai, what you're primarily trying to do is you're trying to keep these buffs up for as long as possible. You of course want to do damage, but your primary damage skills are going to be your go and your try this. But keeping these buffs up, as well as your minus CP buffs from Hop 3 or Quick 2, are very important when grinding. Now, I have covered almost everything that we have to talk about, but I haven't talked about 2 things. 3 things. First of which are going to be the miscellaneous skills that you often use when playing Shai. The second of which will be skill enhancements. Now, it's going to be simple, just grab these 3, talk about more of them later on. And then the third thing is going to be the skill add-ons. Do not copy these, they're ass. So let's hop into the miscellaneous skills that you're often going to use. So the first one is Twirl 3. I briefly covered this when talking about all the different skill rotations and all that stuff. This one you're going to be using mainly to get places. Another cool part of it is it has a super armor, so it's decent inside of PvP to try and just stay on your feet. The second is going to be Twirl. We use this one to position differently, and if you don't have a mana potion, which a lot of people don't, then this one also gives a lot of mana if you hit an enemy. Now we also have Evasion. Lock-in. Nobody likes that shit. We have Sprinkles. Sprinkle Sparkle? I don't even know the skill because it's also ass. Lock that too. Yeah, we love this skill. Mainly because it's very fast, goes for a long period of time, and gets you places very effectively. Also, if you press F while on it, then it gives you a nice little boost in speed. But yeah, that skill is going to be nice to get from long distance places to places. We also use Hop. This is just going to be your primary movement whenever you have your weapon out. Also, it's kind of an invincible while you're in the air. Once you land, you can be hit, but it's kind of iffy. Out of my way, we already talked about that one. Make sure you keep that up every 30 seconds if you're in a party, every 60 seconds if you're alone. I just keep it up every 30 seconds, even when I'm alone, because it's just habit at this point. Gather around. It used to be good because basically you would use this skill, and it would gather all the enemies around you. However, that's not really the case anymore because as more and more areas get released, a lot of the newer monsters tend to not be able to gather around you. That includes all the Dekia spots, all the Ulukita spots, and basically everywhere that we touch now. Get well. Very important. Now, I'm actually going to pull up my UI for this section. And you see these 4 skills here? Yeah, these 2 are the skill enhancement section. They're going to be Sharing is Caring and Careful. But these 4 skills are all healing skills. And the first one is Get Well. Get Well is a very important skill because it is very quick. Pew! Done already. And in that very small period of time, you have already healed you and everyone in your party for 2,100 HP. That is a massive amount of HP to heal in mere moments, okay? It has a 1.5-minute cooldown, which is a long cooldown, but if you're in a tight situation, just pop that, and you hopefully saved everyone. It's also going to be your 200% BSR if you have it. And in that 200%, instead of doing 700 health every 1 tick for 3 ticks, so 2,100 health, it does 1,000 health for 1 tick for 10 ticks. So it heals 10,000 HP, gives 100% crit hit rate for 60 seconds to yourself, and 30 seconds for your allies. Kind of similar to how Out of My Way only gives it the AP bonus for 30 seconds to allies. And it also gives... Here's the kicker. It gives 300 extra DP for 20 seconds. What is that? And it's super armor during the skill, so you cannot get stunned out of it. The only thing that can really mess it up is a grab, and that is if the grab is happening within like 2 seconds, because that's all it takes to cast it. So it's one of the best 200% in the entire game, because it's basically a free life ticket, and you become almost immortal for 20 seconds after using it. As well as it gives 100% crit hit rate, so it gives a huge damage bonus to all of your teammates for 30 seconds after doing it. So it's a massive, massive skill. Like, this is one of the biggest skills in the entire game, in my opinion. Because it heals you normally a lot, but then it's also your 200% that's just... Now, next we have Stick to Me. Stick to Me is very similar to Get Well. What you'll do is you'll just press Q. There you go. And so in that time, it heals you 2,150 health. So it heals you more than Get Well. However, it's not as quick as Get Well, so there is that. But you also get a super armor during the skill. You get plus 50 DP during the skill, so you can use it kind of like a Q block and just tank a skill with it. And it also does a tiny bit of damage. So it might even be better than Get Well in some situations. Now, here's the bad news. If you use Get Well, there's a 2 to 3 second period where it doesn't actually allow you to use Stick to Me. So instead of using Get Well first, if you really need to heal a whole bunch of HP, which you commonly do, you're going to want to use Stick to Me, and then right afterwards use Get Well. And right after talking about Stick to Me, we can talk about Cheer Up. Cheer Up is a massive skill because it has a 100% uptime. You see, what you do is you press E. After you press E, you then get healed for 300 health every 5 seconds for 60 seconds. So it has a 60-second duration with a 60-second cooldown, meaning you can cast it 100% of the time, and it just acts like another potion. So this one acts like a potion. You got this that acts like a potion. You got an actual potion. And guess what? Sharing is Caring. 100% uptime, it acts like a potion. So Shai effectively has 4 potions running. Anyway, let me show you what Sharing is Caring is. I bound it to 1 on my quick slot. You can bound it to whatever, but it places this little orb here. The orb lasts for 30 seconds. It also gives you a extra 15 DP bonus against magic damage, and it heals you 350 health every 7 seconds. So, another potion. And finally, the last of the healing skills is going to be Careful. Careful gives you super armor while casting it, as well as 1000 HP, and you just go whoop, and it just heals everyone around you for 1000 HP. So, yeah, more healing. We have more healing. Also, now that Get Well is off cooldown, I'll show you what I mean by the 2 to 3 second duration where you cannot use Stick to Me after using Get Well. So you use it, and you could probably hear me spamming the Q key, and then it allows me to use it. So it takes a while before it allows you to use Stick to Me after using Get Well for some apparent reason. I still don't know why. The last one we have is Over Here. So Over Here, basically what it is you press Shift Q. Right, I have it locked. That's how infrequently I use it. Shift Q, and it summons this bubble. This bubble makes you impervious to attacks from the outside of the bubble. So you can use it as like a saving grace for you and your party to try and, save yourselves from an attack that's sure to kill you. Now, the bad news is, once you cast it, no one can leave the bubble. So, once you cast it, everyone's kind of stuck there for a little bit. It has a 5-minute cooldown as well. I have it locked because I used to accidentally cast it all the time, and it would lock all my teammates in with me while we are trying to grind, and I enjoy doing it, but it wasn't fun. It's definitely a skill I'd quick slot though. For example, I'd quick slot that instead of come out. But I wouldn't use it all that frequently. I would just lock it and then... Anyway, those are all the skills that we use outside of all the primary rotations and all the buffs and all that stuff. They're all the Misc skills. I would try and keep Cheer Up going, and I'd try and keep your Sharing is Caring going, because those two can be kept up 100% of the time. You may as well. They're just extra potions, basically. And finally, let's talk about the skill add-ons. Mine are ass. Don't touch them. They suck. In fact, half of them are just a meme. Now, if I were to actually recommend realistic skill rotations, then I'm gonna head to garmoth.com to show you guys exactly what I mean. Here is what the final bit of what your skill add-ons should look like. Only the first 4 truly matter. The other 2 are kind of just up to preference or whatever you want to put in there. But I will also explain why I picked all of what I did throughout this. So if you want to watch that, go right on ahead. So first, you're just going to pick whichever class you want, in which case we're doing a Shai guide. So you're going to pick Shai. And the weird thing is we cannot pick a single awakening skill. But out of all the skills, I'd say Try This is one you want one on. But we're just going to go in order of the combination. So instead of Try This, first you're going to stick it on Hop 3. Now for Hop 3, I typically like to go do all AP minus 20%. The reason I do this is because we use Hop 3 frequently throughout all of our skill rotations. You can switch it out for Quick 2 if you like to use Quick 2 first. My guild leader enjoys Quick 2 before Hop 3. I enjoy Hop 3 before Quick 2. It really doesn't matter, honestly. It's just a preference thing. And then I would also do extra damage. No, I would do attack/casting speed. You could also say monster damage, but the next skill after it would be Quick 2, and Quick 2 also doesn't really have much damage to it. So on this one, you could say extra AP against monsters and crit hit rate. The next one in the skill rotation is going to be Try This. For Try This, I would say they were doing all accuracy rate, and then also... Actually, no. People are wrong about the Quick 2. Instead of crit hit rate, what you're going to do is you're going to do crit hit damage. The reason I say that is because if we go on back into this, we look at Try This, it has a 100% crit hit rate. So you don't actually need the crit hit rate on this, you can stick the crit hit rate on this section instead. So just swap them, that way you get the extra crit hit damage on the Try This. For this one, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and attack/casting speed's always the one you want. This one's just better. After that, yep, this is what I use too. I use that because it's a nice way of just keeping your health up, topped up all the time. After that, I wish you could select Go. Sadly, you can't. So what people usually do is they usually do Twirl, because you kind of need Twirl in your rotation if you don't have a Mono Potion. I don't like using Twirl, so instead of that, I'm going to stick this on Stick to Me. On Stick to Me, I would put... There's several things you could put on here. All DP plus 20 is definitely one of them. because Stick to Me is mainly a skill you would use to try and save yourself. Another one is Instant Recovery, so it heals even more. However, it doesn't have many procs of hits, so you'd get probably only 200 health or so from it, and it already heals 2,150. So you'd only be getting 200 extra health from that. Instead, what I would put on it, you can put it on if you want to, it's not much. What I would put on it is attack / casting speed minus 5%. That makes it to where the enemies attack you less frequently, so less chance of dying. And now the last one, pick whichever you're going to use. If you don't have a Mana Potion, pick Twirl. If you do have a Mana Potion, you could still pick Twirl. It's a good skill to relocate where you are. If you also don't have a Mana Potion, I would recommend Twirl 3, because this one is used not so frequently, but you still do use it from time to time for different spots, like Olin's is good to use it on. And as a Shai, you're going to be doing Olin's a lot. I would put extra movement speed on it, as well as all evasion rate or all accuracy rate. Either one of those. I'd probably pick accuracy rate. Now, for me, I like having Eat This. And I like putting extra human damage on it. And I like putting extra movement speed on it. You want to know why? Because if you smack an enemy with that, it stuns them. So it's a stun, extra damage to humans, and extra movement speed, so you can run at them afterwards. Yeah, it's a meme. And now that we've done the first 4 skills, the 5th skill and the 6th skill aren't really that important, because if you take a look at the main section of it, there are not really that many skills that you can use in this section. You don't use Stick to Me often in combos, you don't use Go Away. You can use Twirl if you don't have a Mana Potion or if you need to reposition, so this is often one that's used. You don't really use Twirl 3 unless you're doing something specific, and you don't really use Eat This. So your 5th one's probably going to be Twirl or Stick to Me. Stick to Me people use because it's kind of a skill you use when you're in a sticky situation. You need to quickly recover some HP. Just plop. You got the HP back, and people use it to like add some DP or something to make it even tankier, so you have a higher chance of survival. So that's often one that's used. And then the 6th one, it's still probably going to be Stick to Me, Twirl 3, or Twirl. These are usually the 3 skills used in the 5th or 6th slot. Anyway, that'll be all for this guide. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope it helps you a lot. And I hope that you have a nice little grind on Shai and enjoy this class. Anyway, have a great day, night, whatever time zone it is for you. Goodbye.